Hi. So today I'm going to be painting and assembling this little dog shelf sitter. And I drew him kind of like a little Bichon kind of styled puppy. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. I went ahead and tried some new techniques before I started just to test out some different products. So I went ahead and bought some of these. They're watercolor paints, and I got these on Etsy, and the brand is it's I think it says Iuile, is the name of the Etsy shop that I got this from. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so I'm not going to try. So I just wanted to say where I got these paints. So this is one of their paint palettes that they have, and I'm going to be using this for some of this today, just to add a little bit of sparkle. If you want to add any sparkle, that's just where I got this. So I did go ahead and just kind of test it out on some birch. So this whole file is made from birch today. Usually I use MDF, but my MDF supplier is sold out. So I thought I would change it up and try something new. And I honestly don't hate it. I really, really love this wood. I didn't have any problems with any charring, any breakage. This is just Baltic birch, so I'm not hating it. I'm actually loving it. So I can do a few new techniques with this type of wood. So I normally can't, because with MDF, I can't use a lot of watercolors or anything because it just doesn't work. With wood, it soaks in, it blends, it looks great. So I've been playing around with it, and I'm really loving some of the new techniques I can do with the birch. So this file is going to be done with a little different this time. So instead of using all just chalk paints, I am going to incorporate a few different techniques today. So I did get a few other small versions of her paint sets. So she does have a few other ones. I got this one. It's like a little miniature one of the other one that I got. It's it doesn't have any like the whites or anything in there, or the silvers, but this is just like some colors. And I tested them out, and they are really, really pretty. So just some different sparkly watercolors. This one is just all the whites. And I got the bigger versions, and she threw a few freebies in there too. So these are the whites. You can see how sparkly they are. You can see they're different shades. Like there's like one that's more of a yellowy, a green, more of a pink, and a blue. So I'm not going to use those per se today, but I just wanted to kind of show that they do have other ones. But they're fun to use. I've been playing around with them. I'm also going to use some unicorn spit today. So I'm just trying all different things today for this little doggy. So what I'm going to start with, I'm going to take him apart. I'm going to just go ahead and show you how he assembles. There is a score line that is inset, so that way you can see where to place things. I did include another set of eyes just in case, because the score line does kind of cut into the eye a little bit. You don't have to use the extra set of eyes. You can ignore those eyes if you want. I just wanted to let you know that I did include those. The nose also has a little score line. Make sure you set these to score. That way it's for placement, so you know where to put everything. So I'm going to take this all apart. Here's his little scarf. And that just kind of sets right up against his little head. I'm going to move all these pieces out of the way. Here's his little hat. There's a snowflake. I was testing some of the sparkle on the back of the snowflake, and you can see how sparkly that is. That's just some silver sparkle just on the wood. I didn't even paint that or anything. I just put a little bit of that silver from over here on that's the silver from here. I used this one. And it's so pretty. I just wanted to kind of test it out before I started. But look at how sparkly that is. It is so pretty. So I think I might do that on the snowflake. So I was just kind of testing it out. I'm going to go ahead and take this all apart. These pieces just connect right together like that, like a puzzle. So there's those pieces. There's his little florals. And there's these 3 little circles that go on his little, I'm not sure, it's like a little berry, a little string of berries there. Just gonna move these, and I'm gonna use the unicorn spit on those little berries. So we'll try that out today. And then there's his floral, and you don't have to use the floral. You can put it on his hat, or you can put it down here if you want. It's really up to you where you want to put the floral. I didn't want to make it permanent, so I didn't add those extra lines. I didn't weld it on, so it's really, you know, free flowing wherever you want to put it. It's totally up to you. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take these and put these over here. Got all my brushes ready. And then this piece goes here. And you can see there's that extra line around the hat. You're going to make sure that you paint that extra line. It's like an outline around the hat that you're going to paint black. So because it doesn't quite match right up against the hat, it's done on purpose so you can have that extra dimension. There's his little puff. And there is like a little hole there. That's supposed to be there. That's like the shape of his head. And that's part of the hat. So that's supposed to be there. I have a lot of people always ask me, like, what are these extra lines? That's part of the design. So I'm going to take this here, take his eyes off. I'm going to paint those black too, like his little nose. And then there's the back layer. So the only thing you're really going to paint here is you're going to paint that around here with black, and this is going to be white. So I'm going to just move his head out of the way. And I am going to use the chalk paint for his body. I tried some different chalk paint this time. I'm trying more of these like furniture paints just to try something different. These are furniture paint, chalk paints. I just got some little samples. If you ever go to like any of your local craft stores, they have like little, I mean, maybe not all of them, but some of them have like little sample pots of furniture paints. Give them a try. They actually cover quite well, and I don't hate them. And I use them on my crafts. So I love it. I think they are a little bit pricey. I mean, compared to like you could buy a big jug of the folk art chalk paint for about this, maybe almost the same price around there. But these cover in one coat versus having to do like 3 coats. So I'm just going to go ahead and just take it from the cap. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of get started here. And I just took a light, just very light. I don't want to like put too much on. I kind of want the wood to show through a little bit. I really like this wood. It came out really nice. And I do have an air compressor on my laser, so there is no char. I did not mask this. If you happen to have an air compressor on your laser, it's amazing. You don't have to worry about masking. So I have that on my Mira, and it's been so helpful. I don't have to mask anymore. So if you're thinking about getting an air compressor, I definitely recommend it. You can see there's no char, and it's been amazing. I love it. So, and they're really not that expensive. I just got mine on Amazon. I think I saw a post on the Laser Outpost. She had Liz Rivers has some amazing posts on there about where to buy all that stuff. So if you happen to be part of that group, she has a lot of great posts about where to buy all those products. So she has some links to like Amazon. That's where I saw it, and I just followed her links, and I am so happy I did that because masking was a huge pain. So not having to mask has been so helpful. All right, so you can see how nicely that covered in just one coat. All right, just working my way out because I don't want to get paint on those edges. There we go. So you don't have to do his head because you're going to be covering it. You're going to be painting the other part of his head because there's another layer. Okay. So I'm going to go over here, just set this over here for now, let that dry. And I'm going to go over here and get his face. I just really want to make sure I don't get any paint in those eye holes. I feel like it never sits right if I get paint in there. Actually, this is the one you're going to want to paint with the black. All right, and you don't have to worry about his little snout because you're gonna be covering that too. So this is my first time painting this file. So I'm doing this for the first time along with you. All right, just making very, very careful not to get the paint in those eye holes. Sometimes if I get paint like globs in there, then the eyes don't go in and it will sit right. It just looks weird. There we go. Alrighty. And this is just white chalk paint. It's like a white, like a furniture, like a mineral type paint. But you can use like the folk art white if you want. You can even do like an off-white. That would be nice too. And his eye does get covered a little bit by his snout. There we go. And I might do a little bit of dry brushing with maybe an off-white just to like create like some dimension. We'll do that a little bit after this dries. Just want to make sure I get enough paint on here. And this Baltic birch really covers, it takes the paint really nice. Just want to make sure I get the part at the bottom where his snout goes. There we go. Just where the part's not going to be covered. Okay, so there he is. You can see the nice wood right through there. All right. And that was just a really light coat, and you can see how well that covered. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to paint his little snout. Do the same thing again, and there's those score lines. I had a lot of people ask me, like, who just got their Mira. They say it doesn't have a score option. It's just line or fill. So with score, all you're going to do is you're going to, it's still going to be line. You're not going to fill. It's going to be line, but you're just going to lessen the power and speed up your laser. So it's the same as cut. It's just that you have to just lessen up that power and speed it up so it doesn't cut all the way through. So it's almost the same as cutting. You just want to make sure that you do that. You're just changing your settings. So it's a little different than a Glowforge. Like a Glowforge, you're just going to have a score setting and an engrave setting and a cut setting. So it's learning the settings on different lasers. That's how you're going to do it. I don't know anything about like there's all these new ones coming out like We Create and X Tool. I don't know all those settings. The only X Tool I have is an F1, and I've only engraved on there. So I got a little hair on here I'm trying to get off. There's like cat hair all over my brushes or something. Or maybe it's just a bristle I'm trying to get off. There we go. I'm trying to get that hair off. Oh my goodness, it does not want to come off. I'll have to just pick it up with my nail. All right. Here we go. Here's this little snout. I'm gonna set that over here to dry. Okay, so, and then I also have this part of his little hat. Now I really want this white to pop, so I'm gonna really add a lot of extra white paint and just dip it right in there. So I'm gonna kind of almost like stipple this because I want to have texture, and I'm also going to add some of that sparkle on his hat. I want to really add some dimension. I think I'm even going to add a little bit of black outline, some dry brushing on this one because I really want this part to really pop from his fur because it's the same color and you don't want it to all blend together. So you really want to make sure that that's, you can even use a different color if you wanted to. You can make his fur like more of an off-white. It's really up to you how you want to do it. But I am going to dry brush him so that way you can really see those different layers. There we go. All right, we got his little puff ball. Just add a little bit more paint. There we go. Do the same thing again. I'm just going to kind of stipple this. There we go. And I just wanted to kind of make a new dog this year. I know I made a couple dogs last year, but I wanted to make a new one this year. There's so many dog breeds that I would be making dogs forever if I tried to make all the breeds. So I'm trying to just make maybe a few a year. So eventually I'll get there, but I'm just making a couple generic doggies. All right. Alrighty. So, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of brush that on. I don't want to put too much paint on this snowflake because I really want to add that glitter over the top of this one to really make it pop. This wood is really taking the paint so nicely. I really love this wood. So, and I happen to find this supplier on Facebook. So, and free shipping and from Canada, which is amazing. So, she's on Facebook. It's Julie's Wholesale, I believe. Julie Lowry is the person I bought this wood from. So she's got a great Facebook group too. So if you happen to be looking for a supplier, that's where I bought this wood from. It's been amazing. I'm just gonna add a little bit more paint to this now that it's dry. Just want to make sure I got a good coating. All right. Okay. There we are. Okay, so we are ready for some other colors. We did a lot of white on that. Okay, I'm gonna just set my white paintbrush over here. I just used a bigger paintbrush so I could get that done a little faster. And now we're ready for our little greenery. Okay, so I'm gonna get a smaller brush for this. And I'm going to be using, I'm just gonna use some folk art paint for this. This is the folk art paint in antique green. Just go ahead and shake it up. There we go. And I like to just use the cap so I'm not wasting any paint. There we go. I'm just gonna dip my brush in there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just paint those little pieces here. And having a small brush really helps because you want to get all those spots because you don't want to get any green paint on your little berries because you want to paint those a different color. And this, you don't have to worry about this because it's going to be covered up. So, you know, if you want to be messy, look at that. I'm going to be messy. Look at that. I'm going to be messy. I'm just going to just go ahead and be sloppy right there. Look at that. Look at that. So I'll even show you how it doesn't matter if you're perfect or not. Look at that. I'm just going to be really, really messy. Look at that. I don't even know if this is the part that's covered or not, but I'll show you. You can be sloppy. Okay. And you know what? I think I'm gonna paint this part green too, because then I'll put the red over the top of that. All right. And I think I might even do this one the same color green. There we go. And I'm just going to be really messy because I know I'm going to be covering that part up too. It doesn't matter. Like, look at how messy I'm going to be. Doesn't even matter. There we go. All right, grab a little bit more green paint. And I think I'm going to come over here and paint this little pine tree. But now I'm going to be a little bit more careful because my berries are going to be right here next to it. There we go. And you can see that air compressor has been so helpful. Look at that. No char. Look at that. I'm like loving that air compressor. And it wasn't really hard to set up either. And I'm just going to make sure I kind of get all the parts around those berries. I'm going to paint those berries. You know, I think I'm going to do them with the unicorn spit. I think I'm gonna do that because I want it to pop off of the hat, because I'm gonna paint the hat regular red, and then I'm gonna do the unicorn spit because it's a little bit brighter red. So, you know what? I think I might even get a different shade of green now, just for fun. I'm gonna grab a different shade, just for funsies. You know what? I bought this shade of green. It's more of the furniture green, and that's more the fusion paint. It's called Conservatory. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna wipe my brush off. I'm gonna use the same brush. I'm just wiping it off. I'm just gonna dip it right in there. I'm just gonna do this. Look at that. I'm just gonna go ahead and yeah, I think I'm gonna do that for this one. I'm gonna paint these. Make sure I get that good. In this part too. I'm not sure where this one goes to, but I'm gonna make sure I get it all. You just don't know what's gonna show and what's not. Okay. And you can see how well that covers. Look at that. I like this green. It's like almost like a minty type green, but it's more of it's kind of a little darker than a mint. Because if it's mint, then it's too spring, and you don't want spring colors with your winter colors. It's kind of almost like an olive, but a little darker. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't really describe this color green. It's very pretty. Wanted to change it up. Do something different. There we go. There's our little mistletoe. And I want to make sure I'm lining it up, make sure that I'm getting all the parts that are going to show, because you don't want to have any of your wood showing. So I think that's pretty good. And then I'm going to paint this a different shade of green even. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to get this one. Get some little greens here. There we go. And I know we're talking about Christmas right now, but I have my Halloween nails. I got my spooky season nails ready to go because it's October. But we're thinking ahead for the holidays. So just ignore that I have my black tips on for spooky season. All right. So I'm going to make sure that that's all covered up, that there's nothing going to show before I put my green paints away. Okay. All right. Looks good. All right. I always want to make sure I do that. Now for this one, I want to use another shade of green. I'm going to put my caps on so I don't spill any paints. And I have so many shades of green. I like this one. It's a nice dark green. Let's see how it looks. This is brand new. This is pressed fern, it's called. Ooh, that's brand new. Haven't used it yet. We'll see how it looks. And I'm gonna just go ahead and grab another brush. Oh, that is a nice holly color. That is great. Because I really want these all to have enough dimension. I don't want them all to look like the same green. It'd be cool. Oops, almost put it in the wrong paint. There we go. This looks cool. And you can even add a little bit of black around it. Like we can even dry brush the edges. I can get my black paint out. Or you can use the art crayons. I love the art crayons. We can just use a lot of different products today in this. All right, there we go. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. You can see a lot of different dimension. While that's drying, I wanna go over here and I wanna grab a little tiny brush and I wanna use my unicorn spit. So I was shaking this up. I'm just gonna take a little bit here. And there's my unicorn spit. And I wanna go through and I wanna add some unicorn spit on these berries. And this is a very kind of see-through almost quality because it's a stain. So you're going to see that nice bright red showing through. So there's that unicorn spit. And this is the sparkly one. This is the, it's a gel stain and it's I like it. I just like to put it right straight on the wood for this sparkly one because it's just super sparkly. There we go. And I'm gonna just put it right on there. And it's very, very sparkly and pretty. And if we wanted to, we could have done the watercolors too, but I wanted to try another product in here just to show another, just versatility, just more products so you can try out if you don't want to buy the watercolors. You can get those watercolor type things at Michael's too. I've seen those sparkly watercolors, but not exactly those. I'm just really impressed with how well those really sparkle. So I'm just trying to grab a little bit more of this. I might just put a little bit of this on my paper towel because I'm grabbing a little bit here. I just don't want it to like spill. There we go. Grab a little bit more. And it's such a pretty stain. I'm just going to drag it down. It is so pretty. Unicorn spit is fun. So there we are with our berries. There we go. I might add a little bit more over here because I was running low. Grab a little bit more. There we go. There we are. And you can add more layers to it. I just thought this was kind of fun. Just a little touch on those berries. A little bit over here. All right. I'm going to let that dry for a second. And I'm going to come over here to our little tiny berries. We have those little circles. You don't have to use these if you don't want to. If you're really good at painting the circles right directly on there. If you don't want that extra dimension, you don't have to. You can just paint them right on there. But they're included if you don't want to paint them directly on there. I'm going to grab a little bit more of this unicorn stain. I'm probably going to blob it all over the place. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to actually just pick it right up. And I'm going to hold it. I'm going to just paint it right on there. And this is what I love about using the birch, is that the birch just takes the stain really well. All right. There we go. All right, and here's our next one. Oh, there we go. And here's another little circle. And I'm gonna let that dry. And our last circle. There we go. Okay, and that's it for those. And let those dry. Okay, so now we're gonna come back. I'm just gonna move everything out of the way. We're gonna come back and now we're going to paint the scarf. We have his scarf and his hat. We have these parts here. I'm just gonna move these out of the way. And set these over here. Okay, so I have some red paint. This is called Silk, and it's called Fiery Sky. And I'm not sure if that's just the brand. I think that's just the brand, Silk. My vision's not the best, but I think that's just the brand. And it's made in the USA, and this is more like furniture paint, but I've noticed this is really, really good. It's got good coverage. It's like a mineral type chalk kind of paint. I'm not sure exactly. Don't quote me on it, but it's got some really nice coverage. So, and this red is just lovely. I love that red. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab some red paint. I'm just going to dip it right in there. And I'm going to paint his little scarf. There we go. And I'm just going to work my way towards the edge. Okay. I'm just trying not to get any on the outer edges. Doing my best, so I like to work my way towards the edges. Okay. And get his little scarf. I just thought red would look nice for his scarf. Actually, you don't really need to paint that part because this part's going to be covered. So, That's just me being weird. I like to always paint all the extra pieces. All right. I guess if you don't want to add that extra piece, you don't have to. It's just for dimension. There we go. Just make sure I get enough coverage. There we go. All right, so there's his little scarf, and there's the top part of his scarf. I'll make sure I paint that top layer, and I am going to dry brush around the edges just so that layer really pops. You really want that to pop. There we are. So I'm trying to work those brush strokes right out of there. Okay, that's all set. All right, and now we're gonna come over to his hat and do the same thing. That's such a pretty color red. And you can use like your folk art chalk paint too on this. You don't have to always use what I'm using. These are just suggestions. The folk art red is really nice. I have the folk art red here too, that I've used on other files. It's really nice too. So there we are. All right. Just gonna go through and just work my way towards the edges again. Make sure you get all those, try to get all those brush strokes out because you don't want those brush strokes to show. All right. And you can see those brush strokes again, so I'm going to keep working those brush strokes out. So long brush strokes. Try to work all those out. And if it needs another coat, make sure you come back and do that. Okay, so while that's drying, I am going to get my black. And I'm going to just set this aside and grab some black. And I'm just using the black folk art for this. I'm going to shake it up. I've had this black, the same black folk art paint forever. It seems like it lasts and lasts and lasts. All right, so I'm going to grab another brush, and I'm going to be painting his nose, his eyes, and I'm going to go back and grab his head too to get that outline. So I'm just going to go in here. Oops, I got some on the side of the brush. I'm just going to wipe that off so I don't get it on my hands. I always tend to get it on my hands. Okay. I'll paint his little nose. Ah. There we go. There's his nose. I do like the folk art black. It does have really great coverage. Covers in one coat. So that's one I definitely really like. So there's our black. I'm gonna need a little bit more. Dip it right in and try not to get it on the sides this time. Oh, I didn't get enough. This is definitely, I'm trying to run low on my black finally. All right. Okay. And get the other eye. There we go. And this is a pretty small file, so this only took like, I want to say not like maybe just a little over half a sheet, so not very much material. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this down, and I'm gonna grab a different brush for the dry brushing. I like to use kind of like a brush that's a little like older, that's a little bit messy, that's more used, like a brush kind of like this, so you can see it's seen better days. So I like to use a brush like this for my dry brushing. So I'm just going to go ahead, grab a little bit of black. I'm just going to dip it very, very lightly. You can see how much I grab, very, very little. And I'm just going to tap off And just so I don't have a lot of paints, because I don't want to put too much, especially black. Black is not the most forgiving. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm just gonna dry brush those edges on his scarf. You can see just ever so lightly on his scarf. And this is actually still a little wet, so I'm gonna let that go for a few seconds. So I'm gonna do it actually over here, this one. And we're just gonna get those edges. There we are. And we're just working those edges ever so lightly. You don't have to worry about this one because this is the one that's gonna be covered. I'm just gonna work around here, get those edges, and that's all there is. Just get those edges. And I'm just gonna dry this off a little bit. I think I put a little too much paint on that. All right, so I'm gonna grab this here, do the same thing. Just kind of rub along the edge. And you can see just along the edge. And you just want it to pop. You want it to really pop off the like that layer so you see it. You really want to see that layer. Like it looks like he's really wearing a scarf instead of making it look like it's wood. There we are. And we'll layer it back on top and you can see there he is. Just want to get a little bit more right here. You can keep adding as much as you want. All right, I'm gonna pick it up. There we are. You can see that extra layer. You can see how it kind of pops. All right, so I'm happy with that. And I'm gonna go over here. And if you wanna even add like even a little bit of white in the middle, like to make it like it's rounded, to kind of add like a highlight. So you can even do that. That would look pretty cool. I might even like mix a little bit of the red and the white together and just dry brush right in the center of that. We could try that. Let's give it a shot. You know, if it doesn't work out, you can just paint over it. It's not that big of a deal. We're here to try some things. It's no big deal if it doesn't work. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of that red again. I'm gonna grab just a hair and I'm gonna just use my paper towel and just put it on here. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that white paint. I'm just gonna grab just a hair of that white paint. Just dip it right in the paint. And I'm just gonna mix it together right on my paper towel. I'm gonna wipe that right off here because I don't want it to be like such a huge difference, just a little bit. And I'm gonna just blend those colors together. Just add a little bit of the white to the red. Just a little. And then I'm gonna tap off because I want it to be dry brushed, not like full on crazy. So I'm just gonna add just a hair of white and you can see it right there. Just to add like a little highlight. There we go. And you can see that right there, just a little bit. There. That's it. So we got a little highlight on his scarf. We can do the same thing on this one too if you want. Just add a little highlight. Just dry brush that right on. There we go. There's his little scarf. Even if you want to do the same thing just like right here in the middle. Okay, and the same thing here. Take this off, do the same thing. There. I think it looks pretty cool. Trying some new things today. So there's his little scarf. And I'm gonna set that over here. All right. So we're gonna come back over here to his hat. We still have our black. I'm gonna add a little bit more black paint, tap off. I don't want too much black paint, and I'm gonna add a little bit more here. I do have to come back and get that, his head there. I have to add that black around the edge. So I'm gonna just add this around the edges. And there's hardly any black paint on here. So this is just, I'm really just kind of rubbing it on at this point. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing on the white part of his hat. I'm going to grab a little bit more black paint. Tap that off. Do the same thing here. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So you can really see the difference in the layers. And if you put too much on, just kind of rub it off. There we go. There we are. Lots of fun things happening. There, I really wanted it to really pop right over here in this area. There we go. And you can also do that with the art crayons. We've done the art crayons in the other videos, so if you want to look at the art crayons, I have other videos where I've used those. I'm gonna set that aside. All right, and I'm gonna do the same thing again. And I'm just grabbing it right along the edges. And it just creates that nice look. Kind of creates like a 3D look. Just kind of grabbing those edges. And like one of these messy brushes, don't throw these old brushes away. Don't throw them away. You know, even if they look like this and they're all ruined, don't throw them away. Keep them. They're great for dry brushing. I save all my old brushes. Unless they're like the bristles are falling out, then throw those away. They'll just ruin your projects. But these ones like this, save them. They're great for dry brushing. All right, there it is. It looks so much better. It's not so like stark white. And we're gonna do the same thing again with this little puff ball. Do the same thing. I need to get a little bit more paint. Tap off. I don't want too much paint. Oops, see? Should have tapped off a little bit more. And just kind of flick your brush and get those little extra around the edge. There we go. And, you know, get in there with those little spaces. And it looks so fun. Gives you that nice, like, antique look. All right, so you can see how it connects and you can see how fun that looks. All right, and I'm gonna do the same thing again over here with this part of my holly. Tap that off because I want that holly to really pop. So I use a dark piece. Dark green on that. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the edges of my holly. So I really want it to pop from the other green that I used. There we go. And it just creates that nice dimension. There we are. Fun. All right. I think I'm happy with that. All righty. Okay, so I'm going to come back and I have his little head. And I'm going to grab that black brush I was using from earlier. And you definitely want to go through here and you're just going to make sure you get those edges around his hat. Okay, just make sure you get that. There we go. Just get that paint. I just had a little leftover paint on this brush. Grab a little bit more. There we are. Just make sure, otherwise it's just going to be the wood showing because there is that extra outline. And then there's that piece over here. I'm just going to grab this. That's where it shows. So, and that's why I make these videos, so you can see how to paint these, in case there's any confusion as to how to assemble these and paint them. I feel like it's important to be able to show people how to put everything together. There we are. Here. Okay. And plus it's just fun just to learn some new paint techniques. I love learning new things. And I like to share that. There we are. Okay, so that's all you really need to do. Okay, I'm gonna set this over here. All right, so let's do some fun things now. Let's go back and let's do some dry brushing on our little friend. I got kind of like an off-white. This one is called Champlain. It's like an off-white. I'm just gonna add a little bit of off-white to his fur, because dogs aren't just stark white. They have, you know, different shades throughout their fur. So I feel like you kind of have to add a little bit of dimension. I just don't want it to be all one color. So I'm gonna add a little bit of dry brushing with this color here. And I'm just gonna add a little bit on the edges. And if it's not the right color, I can always add a little bit. This might not even be noticeable enough. It's just very, very light. It's just very, very light. Because I didn't want it to be like stark white. And you can even add a little bit of black if you wanted. You can do that. Almost like the color of the wood. There we go. Just kind of rub it along the sides. There we go. I just didn't want the white to be the same as his hat. Especially around his ears, you want to really try to get that to, you know, look a little different. There we go. There. Alrighty. And then his nose. I feel like sometimes like the dogs have like, there's like a little bit of like, I don't know, it's like sometimes it's like blackish brown around their noses, like they're like it gets runny, it's never like perfectly clean. So we can add some dimension around that. So I'm gonna just go back with my brush. I'm just gonna add that with the black. I'm just gonna add just a hair around this area here. Like my dog used to have like around his eyes all the time. Like the black around his eyes. So I'm going to add that around his eyes too. There we go. So just so it pops. Okay. I can bring that back so you can see. There we go. Now it really looks like a nice shadow around his face there. All right. I might add a little bit around the edges too, around his face. Just so it creates that nice shadow, because his face isn't the same as his body. Like, it's on a different layer. His head kind of protrudes. There we go. Do that same thing. I might even just do it around his eyes too, because that's my dog's eyes always had like black around his eyes. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm gonna bring our little dog back. We're gonna line it all up. And you can see that it really pops. There's his little nose. There. I think we're pretty happy with that. And you can even add it around here too. I think I might do that. Yep, I think I am. I like it. I'm gonna add a little bit more of our black. I'm gonna tap that paint off because I really don't want too much of that black paint to show. Just ever so lightly. And if you want to try, start it on a spot where it's not going to show, and then work your way towards here. There we go. And then just kind of work your way through here. There we are. And you can do it with the art crayon too. You don't have to do it with the brush. You can even start dragging it across if you want, like I'm doing. Start kind of dragging it across like it's fur. There we go. Look at that. There. Okay, let's take a look. There's our little doggy. There. And then he's got his little scarf. There he is. He looks so cute. All right, so I'm gonna just get some glitter. I think I want to add some glitter now, because I want to add a little bit to his little snowflake. So I just went ahead, so this is just dipping my brush into some water for the watercolors. So I'm going to add a little bit of water, and then I'm coming over here and I'm just tapping it into this silver color. Okay. And then I'm just going to move these paints out of the way. And then I just want to like kind of tap. You can see how vibrant that is. It's very, very silvery. I'm just going to like lightly brush that on because I don't want this to be silver. I want that still to look white. And I'm just kind of lightly brushing that over the top of my white paint. And you can see it's just lightly giving a little bit of sparkle. That looks really, really pretty. I'm just gonna hold this up so you can see how sparkly that is. And you see the back side, how sparkly it is. That's without any paint. That's just right on the wood. So, and you can see how sparkly that looks. That looks really nice. In real life, it's very sparkly, but I'm not sure if it catches it on camera. But just some pretty sparkle. Just enough. All right, so there's a little bit of sparkle on that. And I can give it a little bit of sparkle on here. Just kind of lightly putting my brush right across the top of that, just for a little bit of sparkle. There we go. And that's just a little bit. If you want, you don't have to. Kind of defeats the farmhouse vibe if you put too much sparkle on. But I just wanted a little bit. Just adds just a tiny bit of sparkle. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting, but just a little bit. I didn't want to do too much. All right, so there's that. So that was the paint that I used from, that's on Etsy, and that was the it's Iuile, and that's on Etsy. That's the name of the store. And it's some fun stuff. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna move some of my paints out of the way, and we can start assembling now. We are ready. So I'm gonna bring my little doggy back over. Here he is. And I'm gonna just move his little eyes out of the way. Here's his little nose. I'm gonna put his nose right on top of there. You can see where that goes. Here's his little his little berries. Like I said, you don't have to cut those if you don't want to. I'm gonna grab his little eyes, and they're gonna go right on top. They're gonna go right in those holes. And then here's his little nose, his little snout, and it just fits right on top. And then we have his little fuzzy part of his hat, and you can kind of see it lines right up right there. So you're gonna line that up. But then you're also gonna use this to help you too. So there it is. And you're gonna see that black outline. That's why we painted that black. Okay, so there's that. And you can see that all kind of lines up. And then also his little puff ball is gonna help you line it up. There we go. You know what? Part of his ear is showing there. So you know what? I need to go back and fix that because that's his ear showing. So I painted too much of that black. So I need to go back. That's why you always make sure that you put things on top and make sure that you're not painting the wrong thing here. So this is part of his ear here. So I still have my white paint out. So I'm going to grab my white brush and I'm going to just dip some white paint in there. And I'm just going to go back. And this is part of his ear right here. And that's part of his ear. This whole thing here where this little bump is. All right. Oh, I think I put too much paint on here. Take some of that off. All right. See, we make mistakes too. I'm gonna just keep getting some of the black paint in there. So I'm just gonna wipe that off. There we go. And that's gonna be white. I just gotta make sure I get some of that. It's all the black paint is loving to run together on me. And that's okay. We can always fix it. Can't get upset. There we are. So that's all part of his little ear. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Maybe his ear has a shadow. There we are. Always best for wait for it to dry. Okay. I think that's good enough. Let's take a look. Let's come back over, line it up. And I might have to fix that a little bit more, but you get the idea. There we are. It actually doesn't look bad at all. It looks like he's got a little shadow where his little hat goes. All right. Okay. Actually, I kind of like it like that. I'm going to leave it. And then we have his little floral. And actually, you're probably not even going to see that because his floral is going to go right over the top of this. I'm going to put that right there. And actually, I'm going to try to move this down a little bit more because I don't want these pieces to hang off too much. And then we have our holly. Make sure that you line the holly up just right, that it's the right way. Otherwise, the pieces won't line up. So you got to make sure that these are lined up. Like, nope, that one doesn't go, so it must go this way. It's really hard having nails. There we go. So there's our holly, and it's going to be lined up just right for the pieces to fit. And then we're going to take this piece here, and then this lines right up there. As long as I got the pieces to fit. There we go. There we are. So that lines up there. And then this one lines up right here. If I can get it in. There we go. Make sure I get that perfect. There we go. And then we take our snowflake, put that right on top. But first, we got to put these little berries on. one. And there's two. If I could get this off my finger. It's stuck in my fingernail. Two. And, oh, these love to get caught in my fingernails. Oh, it's dropped here. Ah. Oh boy. Having nails does not help when you're doing these. Okay, I'm gonna just move on because I can't pick that up with my nails. All right, and then we'll put our little snowflake on. So there he is. He is all finished. Make sure we get his little scarf butted right up against there. And that's all he is. He is all finished, except for our little piece of berry that I can't seem to pick up. Can't get it with my fingers. My nails are just, they're getting too long. I got to get them redone. There we go. Got it. All right. And then we'll just line up his little nose with those score lines. I think I definitely have to get my nails done. Get them cut shorter. There we are. And he's all finished. And then he does come with the back stand that goes on the back. And or you can put him on a sign if you want. There's a lot of different ways to use this file. But I just think he's so cute. I had so much fun making him. And I hope you like him just as much as I like him. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out. And when you go to assemble him, I just go ahead and use Loctite super glue. You can get this at Michael's. You can get it at Lowe's. I like using Michael's coupons on this, and I can get it a little cheaper. So depends on where you want to buy it, but I like to use the coupons. So thanks for hanging out, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season. Thanks a lot.